Romans chapter 10 verse 2 has made such an indelible mark in my mind since the past couple of days. I have read Romans chapter 10 a few times, but I read it recently. I was reading Romans 10 recently, and I feel like the first 3 to 4 verses in that chapter stood out to me. Romans chapter 10 verse 1 says, Apostle Paul was saying, he said, "Brethren, it is my heart's desire and prayer to God for Israel to be saved." In verse 2, he says, "For I bear them witness that they have a zeal for God, but they are without understanding." Jesus Christ. So you mean that it is possible for a person or for a people to be so zealous about a concept that they are grossly ignorant about? Okay. Verse 3 then gives us context as regards the ignorance that they were suffering from. Verse 3, Romans 10 verse 3 says that, "For they being ignorant of God's righteousness and seeking to establish their own righteousness, they have not submitted to the righteousness of God." Then Romans chapter 10 verse 4 says, "For Christ is the end of the law for righteousness unto everyone who believes." So we see that what authenticates your knowledge of God is the understanding of righteousness on God's terms, not yours. The righteousness of God is not a morality scheme. It is the impartation of life, the all-encompassing life. Hebrews 5:13 in the Passion Translation says, "For every spiritual infant who still feeds on milk has not been pierced by the revelation of righteousness." Now, what is the revelation of righteousness about? Romans chapter 1 verses 16 and 17. "I am not ashamed of the gospel, for it is the power of God unto salvation, to the Jews first and also to the Greeks." In verse 17, it says, "For in it," that is in the gospel, "for in it the righteousness of God is revealed from faith to faith, as it is written, the just shall live by faith." So what is this gospel? Romans chapter 1 verses 3a in the Passion Translation says, "The gospel is all about God's Son." What did God's Son come to do? Romans chapter 3 verses 25a, the Passion Translation says, "Jesus' God-given destiny was to be the propitiation for our sins." What is it about the sacrifice Jesus was? Hebrews 10 verse 14 in the Message Translation says, "It was a perfect sacrifice by a perfect person to perfect some very imperfect people." The sacrifice Jesus was perfected us. I don't know if you get what I'm saying now. Because of the sacrifice Jesus was, we have been made perfect. We have been made perfect. Do you get? Jesus perfected us because only him could. The perfecting of saints in Ephesians 4:12 can only happen because we have actually been made perfect. We are being made holy because we have already been made holy. Do you get? Let me bring it home. You can only get dodo from plantain because there is already plantain. Jesus perfected us. The righteousness of God states that by Christ, we now have all that pertains to life and godliness. Now, when we drive this back to where we're coming from, Romans 10, it's safe to say that if you are not willing to reckon with the priceless gift Christ is, in which the righteousness of God is revealed, if you're not willing to genuinely reckon with the priceless gift Christ is, you could execute God-named projects that is not God-authored. You see, striving to build a relationship with God without the revelation of righteousness that only the gospel provides is like having a party, where people are partying, they are dancing, they're having a great time, but the host of the party is not even permitted into the party because he is not recognized. The gospel is not something we get tired of. We did not get saved by grace only for maturity to grow us out of grace. We have a responsibility to keep focusing on the gospel. We have to really guard our hearts with all diligence. We presently live in a time where there are so many deep-sounding concepts used to describe and proliferate all kinds of irrationality. And I'm not even talking about outside Christianity. Inside, in a bid to preserve the deityhood of God, people are sinking into false depths about God. Like I always say, the depth of God is revealed in the simplicity of the gospel. So as believers, if we truly want to know God, Colossians 1:15 says that Jesus is the image of the invisible God. TPT says he is the divine portrait of God. So if we truly want to know God, then our focus must be Christ. No more, no less. I hope this blessed you.